Hustle! So I really want to answer that last question with the work that Atlas has been engaged with. When, as I noted before, I graduated from grad school and I said, I'm not going to make the same mistakes that I made when I graduated from undergrad, which was I just started grinding, working at a firm, didn't pay attention to my own interests anymore. I just was hustling to learn the craft. And when I graduated, I said, not again. I'll be working, but I need to keep focused on what my passion is. And so when I did that, my nights and weekends, I would work on design competitions. I would find any opportunities out there, and I would just go after them. I would dream up ideas, things that I had sketched in my book, in my sketchbook, and said, okay, how can I bring this to reality? This is a snapshot from the Grand Matisse International Garden Festival that takes place in northern Quebec, Canada. And this project's called 15 Knots. I'm just going to talk about it for 1 second, but it's an interactive wind garden. I loved the idea. In this snapshot, you could see I put fans, industrial strength fans, in walls that you could hit the button to project different patterns onto this grass field. And I wanted to just have this grass field become a canvas into which people could inscribe their own movements onto. And so there was five of these buttons that you could press, and but it was the first design competition I went after. There was over 300 submissions, and we got selected. And and I pulled my friends with me, and I said, let's do this. And we went there and tried to build this thing. But it was great. Another hustle project, Market Street Prototyping Festival, pop-up installation happens on the street. On Market Street in San Francisco, huge bustling corridor, lack of color, vibrancy, and said, I want to bring, you can't see the hills of San Francisco on Market Street, so I wanted to bring that to Market Street and create these miniature hills that were a hit with kids, and just reinforce why I do this every day. I brought a traveling sand dune throughout Sacramento to kind of highlight issues along our riverfront, or the lack of activation we have with it. This is another installation where my friend and I, he's a marketing guru extraordinaire, and he's another hustler, and him and I came together, and I said, let me create a pop-up installation in this poor, kind of struggling corridor in Sacramento, and this light installation that I created, didn't know how to do it, but just tried to find people that could help make it happen. The whole structure was about $10,000, and he brought programming to it, and so we kind of just hustled around town and activated with over a 3-week period with over 21 events that took place here. But this project killed my soul in terms of the amount of time and effort I put into it. But this is all stuff that I was just doing on the side. I started getting a little bit more pragmatic about my approach and said, okay, let me think a little smarter and design a little better here, in the sense of I took 500 milk crates that you could easily zip tie together to create this kind of pop-up play experience where people, families could sit and play. But this all then translated, all of this hustle about pushing my artistic desires and ambitions has now started translating into permanent work. And I'm still in that point in my career where I'm getting built things, and I really admire all these women here that have these beautiful built pieces. I call it pieces. Here I go talk about landscape as artwork. But this is a pro bono dog park, first dog park in Sacramento in an urban context, and really fought to have sculpture as part of it, and said we need to get a muralist to do this mural. So designed the bark litters, got a muralist to come and make it fun. That work is also translated into, everybody goes, oh, I love how you activated this. Can you activate this vacant, piece of land I have? So it's translated into placemaking corridor master plans. Working with agency here, we just went after the Sacramento waterfront project, but how do we bring that whimsy and artistic nature to even larger scale projects? And then I've been so excited about how this work has now translated to getting public art commissions. So this year we've been either selected or shortlisted for two really larger public art commissions, one in Sacramento and one in Boulder. So that hustle has now translated, and that drive for art and whimsy has now translated into kind of larger work, permanent work.
So I'm going to take a second just to say that Kim is the real deal. If you guys have opportunities for her to make stuff here in Florida, please see her after the panel. She needs to be everywhere, okay? So let's do that. Everyone? Good, okay. So agency, we are all about publicness. I think when Bree and I started this practice, we had come out of a big firm, and we always felt this challenge of public work within a big firm. We made so much less money than the big sports projects. We were always competing for staff and resources against projects that could afford to just keep people on full time. And that's no disrespect to my former firm, it just wasn't built to do public work, and we want to do public work excellently, sustainably, financially comfortable, and excellent. And so the whole idea of agency is to build a practice around a sense of publicness. We also believe that what we are internal to agency should be exactly what we are outside of agency, that there's no like internal mission vision and then there's an external mission vision, that really what we, how we treat our team and how we behave with our team is exactly how we behave with our clients and our communities. So these are just some of the core principles about what we do and how we think about it. I'll walk through them. First, we believe in fun, that this should be fun. When I first started a big project at Sasaki that felt a little bit outside my comfort zone, a good friend of ours, Alexis Cantor, who's now the managing partner at Scape, said, Gina, you're so stressed out. Like, this project is just gonna look stressed out if you don't calm down. This is landscape architecture, it's not brain surgery. And that has really stuck with me, because I think a lot of the places that we make should be fun, and it's hard to make fun when you're like a crazy person. So learning how to make fun part of the process and to build collaboration with teams and to treat everybody like part of the design process so that you're getting their ideas. And so on our website, we have a whole page dedicated to collaboration where we just celebrate the moments where we make physical, personal connections in the work and where we feel fun. We also believe in being kind to our team, being a thoughtful, communicative, happy place as much as that's appropriate. And we feel like community process should be the same way. And so we treat communities with a level of kindness. We build outreach strategies, which we do a ton of because we're a public practice, that are fun and engaging and that aren't torturesome. And so a lot of our work is about making things like board games for communities to play, or finding ways of engaging kids with popsicles as part of our work. We're transparent internally about our public mission. We're also mission driven to the external world. We don't take on projects that aren't aligned with our mission, and luckily in a year and a half of practice we haven't even had that come up. We've been approached to do work that's mission aligned because we're very clear about it. This is just one slide of 3 projects we're working on in Charlotte, North Carolina right now. We're just about to start their countywide strategic parks plan. We're working on a 25-acre historic Nolan Park renovation, and we are working on a third of an acre plaza at the epicenter of uptown Charlotte called Polk Plaza. And so I wanted to show this to say all public work and all at different scales. In this case, all in the same city, but that's pretty atypical for us. And then lastly, I think we see ourselves as advocates for our values in the world, and so we talk about them internally about how we have equity and pay equity and transparency with our team, and that we look for opportunities to promote and have our team engage with the world as much as we do. At the same time, we're advocates externally. I think these issues of sea level rise, of cultural change and political disruption, and again, sort of issues of gender in the workplace are things that we talk about a lot because we believe they need to change and that we can have an active role in changing them. And then lastly, believe again in speaking and being a kind of what's the word, like a advocate for our profession in the world. So this was a TED Talk I gave about spaces for protest, a really important, meaningful piece of the work I've been doing over the last years is thinking about how important public space is to our sense of democratic ideals as a country, and how we can design places and do design places where these large-scale civic protests and unrest happen, and what does that look like, and what does that mean? So this is an image of me giving my TED Talk with, above me, an image of myself, my daughter, my mom, and my sister. So kind of, again, tying together a whole bunch of important things.
Just broadly, the word place, I think, helps to define Dix Heights' sense of purpose and mission. And that is exhibited in many different scales. We like to say, and we like to live, that, and I go back to that word of connection, connecting people in place through engaging design. Really, the design fundamentals that people subtly notice as they're walking through a space, and then how that might actually help them tie to the place at the moment through art, through materials, through elements that are of place. We have core values, and I'll kind of repeat what Gina mentioned, that we live our core values, and we also strive to make those core values those that shine in the community. And I'll just share some examples of these. So service to community is a real strong value for us. We're constantly, continually out in the community, actually through action. We find that the biggest impact that we can have is when we're doing, is when we're helping guide. This is a pop-up installation that we call What If, and Kimberly talked about, running around, doing these kind of artful installations that, really are what's the word I'm looking for? Tactical and quick. Well, in this particular case, we'll go to a street corner, and no one will know that we're going to be there, or they might through social media. And we have 3 different size boards. It's called What If, and we have a little chair that's white and a marker, and we have the before image where you look through the window and you see what is, and then you pull the image up and you have the after image of what can be. And we find that it engages people of all ages and levels. And what's great is it's in place. It's on the street corner. It's on the place where we want to help create change. So that's just one example of service. And then focus on the craft. So things that are of place and that are well designed and that will last, and that perhaps bring focus to a particular aspect of the public realm experience that somebody that's not a landscape architect might never notice, like this wood frame that actually looks out onto a restored wetland, and then beyond, placed in the wetland, there's actually posts that we then tied that similar color out in that place, creating that frame for viewing, and even down to the bench and the logo. In this particular case, this bench was actually inspired by a bench that we found on the place within which we were working, Starkey Ranch. And so the bench was of place. We simply kind of improved on it a little bit, kept it simple, hired a local furniture maker to build it. So focus on the craft of really doing well-built work. And then collaboration. We love the public realm. We love engaging, and I kind of go back to historic work throughout the world, but in our local communities, using different engagement methods and working with communities. Of course, reverence for the earth. we're all passionate about what we as landscape architects can bring to a project and the level of influence that we can have. And then the team, empowering the team. We have an amazing community garden actually across the street from our office. One of the guys, Josh.
Is that our president-elect there in the pink shirt?
That is. Yeah, Josh in our office had this idea. He was like, I want to do a community garden. We're like, yeah, let's go for it. So you know what? He took the lead and he empowered the team, and drove it. And so it's really fun. Right now we're having a watermelon growing contest. If anyone's following us on social media, I think Johan is leading. But anyway, it's really engaging. So empowerment for the team.
2GHO, sustainable. Our mission statement is creating desirable, healthy, sustainable living and working environments. I mean, you've heard the repeat of a lot of the same elements in all of our work and how we approach. Passion for creating the space and respecting nature at the same time. To taking down the details. We took the paving right through the bottom of the pool on this design. And you had talked about it too, Chris, going right down to the details. The imagining solutions and solutions to problems that also create opportunities for people. We can work with nature, we can work with elements and still create places. Why have a retention basin? Why not have a bioswale, bioretention? It is so much better for us as people. So we need water retention and detention. Make it something that's usable, something that it has dual purpose, which we did here on Max Planck. Everything was, all the retention was planted and designed, but once again, for people to enjoy it and go through it. And a place for people to gather and recreate. And you've noticed on that upper picture, there's a mother with her child walking along, Gina, don't get, but so we design places for people, and we enjoy it when they do that. And we love doing, helping create the community image and a place, a sense of place. But it's all about the people, the community. Designing with multimodal, once again for people, on bikes, on foot, on cars, but not dominated by cars. And in Florida, cars have been king for decades and decades. So, but always with a sustainable bend in everything